Abiy Ahmed frames sea access as a matter of national survival, not just ambition. For Eritrea, these demands echo past occupations, a threat to its sovereignty and the ports it fought decades to secure. Tensions have spilled onto the international stage. Ethiopia has formally accused Eritrea at the UN of preparing for war and destabilizing Ethiopia from within. Eritrea dismisses these claims but has mobilized its military, sending a clear message: intimidation will not work. Both nations are on high alert, convinced of the justice of their cause, and neither is willing to back down. The region is a powder keg, and the fuse is burning dangerously close. This is no longer a distant possibility. It's a live, unfolding crisis. Ethiopia's desperation for sea access is rooted in history and geography. Once a maritime empire, Ethiopia lost its coastline in 1993 when Eritrea gained independence. Since then, Ethiopia has been landlocked, dependent on costly foreign ports, mainly Djibouti's, fueling national frustration. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has made regaining sea access a rallying cry, calling it a geographic prison for a nation of 120 million. His speeches are urgent, warning that if peaceful negotiations fail, Ethiopia will take what it needs, a thinly veiled threat. This rhetoric unites a divided country, redirecting attention from internal strife to a grand national project. The dream of an Ethiopian port and navy is powerful, promising economic revival and restored pride. Many Ethiopians see Abiy not as an aggressor, but as a patriot correcting a historical wrong. The language of ultimatums has replaced diplomacy, raising the stakes for the entire region. For Ethiopia, sea access is not just a wish, it's a perceived necessity. For Eritrea, Ethiopia's ambitions are an existential threat. With just 3.5 million people, Eritrea's identity is forged in its hard-won independence from Ethiopia. The ports of Massawa and Assab are more than economic assets. They're symbols of survival. The idea of an Ethiopian flag over Assab is unthinkable for Eritreans. President Isaias Afwerki's government, once an ally to Abiy during the Tigray War, now sees Ethiopia's demands as betrayal and danger. Eritrea fears a desperate Ethiopia might attack to distract from its own internal crises. Losing Assab would cripple Eritrea's economy and pride. Control over its ports is non-negotiable. State media warns any Ethiopian move toward the sea will be met with swift, severe response. Eritrea distrusts international intervention, believing only its own military strength can guarantee survival. The nation is mobilized, ready to defend its sovereignty at any cost. For Eritrea, this is not a choice. It's a fight for existence. The stakes could not be higher. The war of words is matched by military buildup on both sides. Satellite images show Eritrea reinforcing its Red Sea defenses, deploying troops, anti-aircraft systems, and naval patrols. The entire Red Sea Command is on high alert, with reserves called up. Mobilization is swift and serious. Ethiopia is expanding military bases in the Afar region, stockpiling equipment and positioning forces near Assab. Ethiopia's air force is modernizing, acquiring drones and training pilots, hinting at plans for air superiority. Both sides accuse each other of supporting armed groups, fueling suspicion and justifying preparations. The borderlands are a tinderbox, with each move increasing the risk of open conflict. The stage is set for a confrontation neither side wants to lose. The battle is also digital. Propaganda floods social media, shaping public opinion. Ethiopia's campaign uses AI-generated images and videos, linking the dream of a port to national pride and the success of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Slogans like "From the Nile to Assab, one people," go viral, making military action seem inevitable and glorious. The government blurs the line between grassroots enthusiasm and state messaging, priming the public for conflict. Eritrea counters with state media, broadcasting defiance and unity, painting Ethiopia as a desperate aggressor. Patriotic songs and war footage remind Eritreans of past sacrifices and the cost of freedom. Both sides are convincing their people that war, if it comes, is just unnecessary. The information war is as fierce as the military buildup. Ethiopia presents itself as a peacemaker abroad, proposing port leases and joint ventures to diplomats. President Haile Selassie speaks of creative, peaceful solutions, reassuring the world. But at home, Prime Minister Abiy's rhetoric is aggressive, threatening to take a port if talks fail. This double message maintains respectability abroad while fueling nationalism at home. The contradiction worries neighbors and global powers, who see military buildup and propaganda as signs of looming conflict. Ethiopia's strategy is coercive diplomacy, threaten war to force concessions. But this gamble underestimates Eritrea's resolve and risks closing the door to peace. The double game may make war more likely, not less. Eritrea's response is unwavering defiance. Its government insists borders are inviolable, ports are not for sale. Military reinforcements and anti-air systems along the coast show Eritrea's readiness. President Isaias Afwerki, a symbol of resistance, will not yield to threats. Surrendering to Ethiopia would betray Eritrea's hard-won independence. Eritrea is also strengthening ties with Egypt, signaling that Ethiopia could face multiple adversaries if it attacks. State media broadcasts clear warnings. Any move toward the sea will trigger immediate, powerful retaliation. The memory of the bloody 1998-2000 border war looms large. Eritrea must convince Ethiopia that the cost of invasion is too high. For Eritrea, deterrence is survival. The crisis is shaking the entire Horn of Africa. Djibouti, Somalia, and Sudan watch nervously. Djibouti's economy, in particular, depends on Ethiopian trade. A new Ethiopian port would devastate Djibouti and shift regional power. The Red Sea is a global trade artery. War could disrupt shipping, spike energy prices, and draw in international forces. Gulf states and Egypt have their own stakes, with the UAE and Saudi Arabia watching closely. Egypt, already at odds with Ethiopia over the Nile, could be drawn in. Humanitarian disaster looms. Drought, food insecurity, and refugees would worsen. A new war could shatter fragile peace and reignite conflicts within Ethiopia. The ripple effects would destabilize the region and impact the world. The international community is desperate to prevent catastrophe. This standoff is more than a local dispute. It's a test for the Horn of Africa and the world. The outcome could set a precedent for territorial conquest or reaffirm diplomacy. For Ethiopia, sea access could transform its future or plunge it into chaos. For Eritrea, it's a fight for survival. Surrender is not an option. War would devastate both nations, destabilize the region, and disrupt global trade. The world is interconnected. A conflict here would send shockwaves far beyond Africa.